Everybody works optimally differently. So for some people, they really do well with the 8 hour workday and the consistency and the same grind repeatedly. For other people, they work much more in sprints. So they would much rather work like 16 hours a day for a week, and then maybe they would take a week or two off and recover and then do it again. If you think about it, professional chess players kind of have to work on sprints because they take long months of break, but then during the actual tournaments, they are super focused for many, many hours a day, completely actively attentive. It also depends on the kind of work you do, how mentally draining it is, how much focus it requires, and how punishing it is to be inattentive or tired. What's the cost of making a mistake at that work? Um, but I think it's important to figure this out for yourself because once you know your optimal kind of work, then you can set aside the hours you need for deep work. You can take the breaks you need. You can optimally manage nutrition, sleep, and exercise around the way you best work. You can take the right kinds of vacations and so on. If you don't figure this out, what ends up happening is you just follow the mold and you might end up being very dissatisfied because you find that the 8 hour workday does not work for you and that you function better in a different way, but you don't know what it is. And maybe you blame yourself. You think that something's wrong with you and then you beat yourself up for not fitting the mold. But I think this is normal. I think for many, many people, the 8 hour workday is not the optimal way for them to work because it's just not the way we were designed. It's not the way we evolved. It's not how our attention spans work. It's not how our endurance works. It's not how our memory works. I would estimate you have maybe 3 to 4 hours maximum of mental energy per day, and you need to sleep to replenish it, which is why I think many cultures had a midday nap. But I don't think they were exhausting their mental energy. It's only in the modern day, really, that we're using our minds so much. Before, a lot of labor used to be physical, but now work is much more taxing mentally, emotionally, socially. So you need to recharge those batteries, especially if you're in a high stakes environment where making mistakes could cost you a lot. You definitely want to make sure you are at your peak efficiency when you're making key decisions. Which is why I think you'll find people in high up leadership positions, people who are making key decisions, they really focus on making one or two good decisions a day and building the rest of their schedule and day around enabling those one or two key decisions. Things like exercise, rest, optimal nutrition, sleep, and so on become very important the more importance each individual decision you have to make is. But I think even for the average office worker, the average knowledge worker, it's important to manage your mental energy and manage the way that you allocate your work. I highly recommend Cal Newport's book for this, Deep Work. He goes over it in a lot of detail with practical advice on how to set aside the time and keep your attention focused on the key things you have to be focused on. I will say distraction is the modern killer. Distraction and interruption, those two things. So like turn off phone notifications, don't allow anyone to intrude on your core hours of productivity. And then outside of those hours, you can be available for whatever you need to be. But the more you invest in your ability to do good work, the more you'll reap the rewards of like faster skill acquisition, better, resources over time. And you'll also find that your mental energy and mental toughness and ability to focus will all improve as well.